Lorde has risen from the dead, and her new single, What Was That, off her untitled fourth album. There's a lot to unpack. I'm gonna review the song, talk about its music video, the messy, iconic rollout it's had, and discuss what it signals for Lorde's summer, which is happening this year. So the song, What Was That, is an explosive pop breakup anthem that feels like a return to form. Lorde's abandoned the sunshine of solar power for something that's overcast, moody, and in line with her seminal first two records. What Was That combines the sparse production of pure heroine with the keen and cutting lyricism of melodrama. I feel like she's reheated two nacho plates and fused them together to create something that's just fresh and new. The lyrics in this just take on this frenzied, stressed out tone. Lorde's managed to bottle this grief about a relationship ending into something that feels like loose text or a voice memo from a friend. It recalls a bit of Greenlight thematically, particularly with the structure. Verse 1 paints a vignette of like her crashing out. I wear smoke like a wedding veil feels a very classic. Make a meal I won't eat just feels so intimate, but it's very relatable. I love the metaphor of the city streets being alone in the sea. Visually, she just sets you up for that chorus. The chorus is a bit of a grower for me, but it is a knockout now. MDMA in the Back Garden directly ties this to melodrama, of which she noted that drug influenced that record. She paints these memories, kissing for hours straight before going, what was that? She really ate me up when she compared this dead love to the best cigarette of her life and how she still kind of craves that. Indio Haze is a direct reference to Coachella, which she recently performed with Charlie XCX at, and she also did it for Melodrama. Since I was 17, I Gave You Everything is a very key line to me. On one hand, it could be about her ex, but on another hand, it could also be about us. Lorde herself hit superstardom and even won her first Grammy at that age. So the whole Now We Wake from a Dream could extend to that Californian lyric from the Solar Power album. Then we get that post chorus that just throws the synth breakdown in our face. It feels like an answer to her call, and it kind of reminds me a bit of Hard Feelings synth. Verse 2 continues sketching her life post breakup. She's still carrying his weight when she goes out with friends. Friends in makeup talking about the news. It reminded me of I Hate the Headlines and the Weather off Perfect Places. But also about that line in A World Alone. They're studying business, I study the floor. She shouts out Baby's Alright, which is a venue out in New York. I adore that next couplet where she repeats herself with I tried to let whatever has to pass through before admitting that she just won't let it go. And then we launch back into that chorus, which just feels more developed and earned with all of this information. Now we realize it's a hazy flashback. I love the line, I didn't know then, but you'd never be enough for, and it just cuts off. It kind of feels like an extension to Liability, but now she's the one who's singing the song to an ex. The ex is the liability. She extends that post-chorus with, when I'm in the blue light, I can make it all right, which I think is going to be a motif for the record. I feel like the blue light is going to be some metaphor that we learn about later on. And then the song just ends abruptly, which makes me think that it cuts directly into the next song on the track list, hence why it sounds like that. But also on a metatextual level, I feel like it is supposed to end abruptly like the relationship, like a dream that has been unfinished where we wake up and we don't understand what we saw. Before I talk about the music video, I want to point out that this is actually produced by Lorde, Jimmy Stack, and Dan Nigro, so it feels really fresh for Lorde despite building on her past. I always found that Ella's music has been meticulously crafted, occasionally overproduced, especially with those last two records of hers. This has this very cool DIY sound to it that doesn't feel artificial but remains very intentional. I couldn't help but think of Sophie. Like, I really couldn't help but remember Sophie, especially when the synths hit. But then there's also a little bit of Caroline Polachek in there almost, and I think that's because of Jimmy Stack, who's worked with her. This song just feels very expensive, but also intimate. It's very mature compared to the more lush and self-indulgent sound of Melodrama, which I still love very, very much, but this is its entirely own different thing. But in the context of being in your late 20s, like in Lord's shoes, revisiting your older sounds and being thrust back into the spotlight, this feels so correct. And I know everyone's gonna compare this to Brat in a sense, which is fair. The stream of consciousness writing that she's picked up for Girl So Confusing shines here. It's almost like she's doing a satire of herself, taking what she knows that we want and then making fun of it in a way that feels authentic. Which makes me think of the whole Ethel Cain post-irony crisis, but like Lorde's take on that. But overall, I feel like even if you don't like the song, and I've seen some people say they hate it, I feel like once we get the whole story, you're gonna get it. Which brings me to the music video. Hate all you want. I think that it's absolutely perfect. Like, we see her walking through New York with her headphones, the way that we're gonna do with the record wherever we live, and then she just throws her headphones away and gets on a bike. We also get like intercut footage of her mouth close up in the dark and her dancing in a bikini. At some point, she's in the sewers of the city, which I think is just crazy. Then she comes out of that grate and then she like runs to the now infamous Washington Square meetup where she performs her heart out, and you just get the sense that she's actually having fun for once. Solar Power had all of these beautiful but meticulously crafted music videos, whereas like this really feels like a day in her life. I felt like seeing the bedroom scenes it just really shocked me. It's like having a friend who never does thirst traps and then suddenly they do them. Terrence O'Connor, who works with Charlie XCX, directed this, and I think he did a really good job of bringing the song to life with this video. It feels like a clever passing of the torch from Brat Summer to Lorde Summer. But it also still feels like its own thing. I think that it ties together like the promo from that like messy TikTok of her walking down the street to the meetup that got busted by cops only to be put on back again in context. And now I'm just gonna briefly theorize off what's going to happen for Lord 4. Lord 4 is definitely just gonna be this aesthetically and musically cohesive event. I feel like it's very like thought out so far. I highly recommend that you sign up for those text messages. She's already given us a few funny voice memos in lieu of her like beloved emails. I feel like the core colors of the record are going to be that shade of red in the cover and then the silver and the grays. The chain link emojis definitely make sense of that too. Her minimalistic website again gives this whole DIY thing to it. What Was That definitely entered the conversation for Song of the Summer for me in a time that sorely needs new music. Like, we haven't had any like hits recently, like new hits, which is actually part of why I disappeared for a bit. I have not been active on this channel for a while, and Lord has answered my prayers for something to cover. My personal bet, and feel free to bookmark me and call me wrong when it doesn't happen. I feel like Lord 4 is going to be a mix of mellow and pure heroin. It's just, and then also something brand new entirely. She said that the song is the start of her rebirth in a way. I fully believe that now, and I just cannot wait to see what she does next. And that's a wrap. Sorry for this really quick, abrupt video that feels like a voice memo that might sound a little crunchy. I actually recorded this on my phone in the middle of my hotel room while I was staying in Austin for the Brat tour. My voice is absolutely shot because I was like yelling for Charlie, and then like as soon as the concert ended, I was like, oh my god, I have to record this video. A quick shout out to my members. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I love you guys, and my subscribers. I also love you guys too. I was working on my Marina Electra Heart video, which has been delayed a little bit, but it's 25 minutes. It is a fully like thought out thing, and I can't wait for you guys to see it soon. Love you guys. See you next video.